Greetings! In this video I'll be painting an Assault Marine of the 5th Legion, the White Scars. This model is fully custom, combining parts from various creators online. I tried to create a style mixing the older Mark II with a newer Mark II style helmet, seen in the vehicle accessory sprue. Some kind of update similar to the change from Mark IIIC to Mark IIID. Like most of my videos, I've created the designs on the pauldron myself, and added them to pauldrons I found online. I tried to match references like the Liber Astartes for these ones. I used black primer, as each time I've used white primer through my airbrush it's taken way too long or had a poor finish. A skill issue on my part I'm sure, but you'll see how the black works fine here. I began by painting on Ulthuan grey all over the black. I tried a bit on one greave, but noticed I hadn't thinned it enough. It should be a little runny so it keeps a smooth appearance. Adding just a little bit of water helps a lot. I applied this thin paint all over the parts I wanted to be white, without worrying about spilling over though. Courage is the most important here. I applied another coat after the first one and dried off screen, and touched up any spots that didn't look smooth enough. Happy with the white for now, I moved on to the red accent colour. The White Scars use red on various spots of their armour. I used a few references to get an idea as to where I should put it in this one. These bits on the ankles are the reason why I decided to use a Mark II set. You don't really have this on any other Mark, so I figured it'd be interesting to paint. At time of recording, the new plastic Mark II kit had just been leaked, so that's pretty cool timing. The hands and elbows also received a coat of red, but the reference I was using for Mark II armour didn't have the same torso or helmet, so I used this image for those. Deciding to keep a limited palette, I used the same red for the haft of the heavy chainsword. Painting in the designs on the pauldron are pretty difficult, especially on camera. It's just outside of my focus distance. Both the Legion insignia and the tactical marking were painted in with red. The Jagorian text would later be painted black. Sticking to the red, I switched to Evil Sunz Scarlet and did a highlight over the Mephiston red. This consisted of an edge highlight and surface layering the bits I wanted to stand out more. The tops of surfaces and otherwise isolated bits received the most attention. Now for some gold. I used Retributor armour and painted in the baubles on the ankles, followed by the banding on the power pack, and the little nodule on the torso. I was looking for more spots to paint gold, but this model lacks the various accessories of the reference. Now onto Abaddon black. This was used to paint in all of the undersuit and power cables, as well as the Chagorian script on the pauldron. It's so tiny and I didn't do a great job with it, but it's not too bad. Next I decided to put a small decal on the buckle. I used the Legion's Imperialis vehicle transfer sheet for this, as it has plenty of decals that can be used for knee pads and buckles, for all 18 Legions. They also go for pretty cheap on eBay. I cut out one of the smaller ones, and applied it to the buckle with some micro set. I would later use some micro soil off camera to finish it off. Now to highlight the black. I dry brushed Mechanicus standard grey with a makeup brush, followed by some manual edge highlighting to help certain spots stand out, as well as highlighting a bit of the undersuit. The silver metallics were next. Using Leadbelcher, I painted in the chainsword details, power pack details, and every single rivet all over the armour. For the eye lens, I used Lupercal green as a base coat, and followed that with Kabalite green in the middle of the vision slit. I wasn't happy with how dark this was, so I went in with Sybarite green to bring up the brightness. Now thankfully onto the enamel wash. This adds some much needed definition and weathering that helps pull the model together. I was thinking about doing additional weathering, like chipping effects, but I think this was enough. After the enamel wash had had enough time to dry, about an hour and a half, I went in with Runefang steel and highlighted various details on the chainsword, select rivets that I felt needed to be brighter, as well as various parts on the power pack. After I was done with that, I applied my usual basing method as seen in my Stormspeeder video, finishing that off with an ultramatte varnish. And here we have it, an Assault Marine of the 5th Legion White Scars. When I started this one, I wasn't intending the scheme to be so simple, but I think it really works. I made a few mistakes here and there, but I think this is a pretty quick paint job to do. Though with it being a Mark II set of power armour, that means many rivets to paint in. The mistakes I mentioned were the lack of silver paint on the inside of one of the power pack cables, and I spilled a bit of red up onto one of the greaves. When I painted in the red and black, I was still under the impression I was going to do some chipping later, which I could have used to cover those mistakes. As a result, I completely forgot about them. As for the silver, I only noticed that bit moments ago when I spoke about the eye lenses. Whoops. In any case, I think this scheme works well, and hopefully you guys are okay with me experimenting with 3D printed models. It's taken me months to find enough parts to do this, with many authors taking their stuff down, so I can only apologise about not being able to share links to these things. It's a really annoying position to be in. We just want more options to create our Marines, which is probably a bit ironic due to the favouriteist treatment the Space Marines get, but whatever. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm not too sure what my next video is going to be yet. I've got some requests I've got ready to prime, and some ready to build, but I've also got 2 more guarded regimentum, and some other ideas to do. So, we'll see I guess. But enough of that. Hope you stick around for the next one.